Good evening and welcome to day 2 of Laps for Leuko. I've just got my little son Mitchell here next to me. What are you after, little buddy? It's live, mate. We're live on YouTube. We are live on YouTube. He's excited. He's going to tune in and watch me from the bedroom. I did tell him there's probably more exciting things to watch on TV than me, but I think he's my biggest fan, so we'll see him be entertained. Um, so yesterday, day 1 of Laps for Lucio, we had the Nürburgring Endurance Championship in the Aston Martin, which we are driving tonight, and is the car on the screen. Completing my longest ever stint in the simulator, 4 hours non-stop driving. It, it it doesn't look like it did very much. So 33 laps is all we completed for the session. So it was just on 5 hours of driving. 33 laps of the Nürburgring. So the Nürburgring's 24.23 kilometers long, though. So it was a fairly big day at the office. Unfortunately, I did have a bit of a crash early on in the race, but we got through. We clawed back a couple of positions and redeemed ourselves a little bit. We lost a little bit of I rating, which I'm not here for the I rating numbers. It is nice to have those numbers, but they don't mean the world to me either. So what we're doing tonight, guys, we're racing the Aston Martin. We're not even racing tonight, actually. We're driving the Aston Martin GT4 again. We're driving at as the session just kicks over, I believe. We're driving at the Charlotte Roval. So this Saturday. It still says you're an admin on there. It still says edit on my screen, and I set it for today at 8 o'clock. So unless it hasn't set for Australia time, maybe. Yeah, and I set it for Sydney time. Sorry guys, I just got to share my screen to get this server to come up. I won't be a second. This is the technical difficulties of a guy who doesn't know how to do computers. So I'm just going to chat with Lord Volt, the technical expert. Okay, so have you got my screen there? Yes, it still says edit here. No, it's 8 p.m. Sydney time. I'm sure of it. Oh, okay. So how can I edit it? Um, yep, yep. So I want to, yeah, so it's AU Sydney. Ah, here we go. So, yep. Yeah, gotcha. Okay, so if I change that now, start now. Yep, there we go. And save edits. There we go. So it'll be about a minute now, yeah? Oh, that's awkward. Yeah, okay, now it's gone out of it. See, I told you that's what it was going to be, boys, but you wouldn't listen. So, yeah, see, I read that as Sydney, Australia time, so there you go. So we've had a good technical gremlin. It's taken 4 minutes into this stream to figure out. I set up the server to run. Stop streaming. So I set up the server to run on what I thought was the Sydney server, but it was actually the Sydney server, but based on my time. So I did the right things for all the guys in the eastern states, which was wrong by me. So we'll be about a minute before we can actually jump into the Aston Martin. But what was I saying? So the event is a test event for iRacing. So effectively, iRacing has a matchmaking system called iRating, where it'll match drivers with drivers of similar rating, which should mean they're similar skill level. Um, from what I understand of this test race on the weekend is that the system is going to be overhauled so that the division of drivers, or splits as they call it, is calculated a little bit differently. So we don't know what that algorithm is. Absolutely no idea. All we know is that it's an opportunity to race a car. So we're going to race. But I figured, well, there's not a lot of racing on in the official races, and Laps for Lucio is literally about doing laps. So I figured we'd just literally do some laps at Charlotte Roval and get ourselves ready for the weekend's 3 hour session. I plan to do one of the sessions on Saturday night, and I will probably do another one Sunday morning. However, we'll see what our other races are on in and around that to try and keep the content a little bit more exciting for all of you guys and girls tuning in to watch this sort of stuff. So we have on board today. So I race frequently with Missed Apex Racing League. He's a server now. I race frequently with Missed Apex Racing League, and we'll have a chat with the guys from there over the coming streams. But there are one, two, three, four, five other guys in chat at the moment. And they are all pretty keen to help support Laps for Lukio and do some racing. So I believe Lord Volt will be streaming on Twitch. Just trying to have a look here and see if he is live on Twitch. So he's there, and then a few of the boys actually watch stream on Twitch and YouTube as well. So I've encouraged all the boys and anyone who's racing at the moment to put their streams up and dedicate that to Laps for Lukio. Because I'll be back in a second. What's that for insurance? Uh, yeah. That's all good stuff, mate. You're good to go with that. Absolutely. Ah, yeah, exactly. Well, that's even better. Even less of your problem, mate. Just offering free advice. Oh dear, guys, I think I said it sometime, probably about 54 times in the last stream. If you guys are into iRacing or if you're into any gaming, join a gaming community. Honestly, I I race mainly with the same 5 or 6 guys. There are on a league night, there's probably 10 or 12 of us that race regularly, but the same six-ish guys are always in chat together, and we always rev each other up and have a good laugh. So the gaming community, since having our life changed a little bit with the leukodystrophy diagnosis, and even before that, as James started getting older with his disability, it just becomes inherently harder to get out and about. So gaming is something that filled that void and given us something to do in the evenings. So it is good fun. And like I said, the league side of it, it doesn't have to be a league. It can just be a group that you do gaming with. It just makes it that much more exciting and you make genuine friends. We had to travel over. We didn't have to travel over. We decided to travel over to support one of the boys. His wife or partner had passed away from cancer earlier in the year, and we decided that nope, it's time to head over there and be with him. So we went over and actually spent a weekend with him, and it's the first time a lot of us had met, and we've been racing together for 3, 4, 5 years. Some of these boys, but it, we got together, we booked a motel together, and it's basically as if we were best mates straight away. No, I'm just running the iRacing fixed tune, I think it is. Baseline. Oh, no, sprint fixed, I think it'll be. Yeah, sprint fixed we'll go with. So I'm not great with tuning cars. So I generally try and just run the fixed or baseline setup. I should really get better at it. And hang on, why are we in the AM? Oh yeah, Aston Martin Vantage GT4. And we are in the sprint fixed. Okay, we'll run that setup and see how this goes around this track. So as I was saying, yeah, we did get over to Victoria and spend the weekend. And as I was saying, we'd booked a motel room and we didn't know we were just literally going to meet with strangers that we'd met on the internet and just spoke with pretty much day in day out. And it ended up being, despite the situation and the reason we're over there, it ended up being a really good weekend. It was great. Just got to adjust the tune on this car. I said I haven't actually set anything up here. What are we doing here? So I don't want to be doing pit stops every. There we go. Let's go one click that way. So we're going to keep the car as low as we can and tow in. We need to bring the... Nope. What do we need to do here? So the back of the car's too low. Why are we too low at the back of the car? This is about the time where I need a grown-up to help set up this this thing. Why are we too low? I think it's because we've got a full tank of fuel at the back of the car and it's giving too much tow in. So we need to... Alright, I think I'm going to go baseline. That'll be the safe way. We can go baseline. Baseline doesn't run a full tank of fuel. Okay, maybe we need to run an endurance setup. Let's have a look at an endurance. There we go. Endurance setup it is. Fixed. So we're on a full tank of E85 and we're going to carry on some more laps for Leukodystrophy. I'm just going to check the lap counter here. So we've done 33 laps and 806 kilometers. This track here is 3.67 kilometers long, and we're going to be doing laps now for the next 2 hours and 30 minutes. So we'll be finishing just after 10 o'clock my time. I have opened up this server to be open to anyone, so hopefully we see some other faces join and some other people out and about on track here, but we'll see what happens with that. Now let's get this.
Give us a few clean laps to get our fuel numbers.
There's no chat. You can't hear me.
No, I can hear you.
Oh yeah, there's no. There won't be. Yep, all good. Sorry, Mitchell's just giving me free advice. Alrighty, so let's go and learn the track. Now we do have a pit exit somewhere. We do have a little bit of a topic tonight that we're going to talk about, which is Leukodystrophy Australia. But we've got 2.5 hours to talk about it as well. So to talk about what happens when we get in the cars here, so the very first thing I do, you'll notice I changed the black box in the bottom left-hand side of the screen. It says graphical adjustments. I changed that to graphic adjustments because I adjust the force feedback strength for each track, and it adjusts it in my actual wheelbase as well. So the very valid setting to leave open until it populates, and then we can go back to the cars. So I don't know how many people will see in this event tonight, but you will see me, and whether it be driving with the cars in front of me all night or whether it be driving on my own, I don't know, and I don't mind, to be brutally honest. We'll just go around and have a chat. Oh, there is. So we've got Peter Armstrong. That's a name that I don't know. So there is somebody here, which is good. I'm expecting to see. Well, that's good. It means that they found my server, and I did call the server Laps for Leuko, so hopefully, hopefully some more people find it and read the description about what we're doing here. So it does give it a bit of a fun reason, and hopefully they'll jump in the race chat and say hi, and you guys will hear some crazy shenanigans along the way as well. So I was saying, yeah, the topic is Leukodystrophy Australia, which is obviously the charity we're dedicating ourselves to raise money for. We're very, very new to our journey with Leukodystrophy Australia, but their whole premise of Racing for James was to, when it originally started, was to raise awareness and do a bit of fundraising for charity. And like I said in my last stream, that was something we had done through the use of a real world rally car. It wasn't a successful project. It was. Sorry, I say it wasn't a successful project. It did achieve what it wanted to. It raised some money. However, the car itself didn't go anywhere near as well as I'd hoped, and it spent more time in the shed than out at any particular racetrack doing anything, and it was just through lack of experience and life skills that it all fell to the wayside. So the opportunity presented itself to do this in the digital world. I have been sim racing now for when did I start sim racing? 2021. So I've been sim racing for 3 years, and that's Jumbo in front of us. So Jumbo there is the founding member of Missed Apex Racing League. He was one of the first people I actually met in Missed Apex Racing League. So Jumbo is a veteran, and he actually come over to not far from where I live to go to a meeting with the Veterans Motorcycle Club. We got to meet him. He was obviously there for their AGM, but I got to take James down in his wheelchair, and we watched all the motorbikes roll into town because they had their national meeting, and it was pretty special. So we got to go wheel around and high five all the bikies, we'll call them, but they're all returned servicemen. So it was a pretty special moment, and something that I've always had a strong admiration for people like that. So we get along pretty well, just through that mutual respect. So there's a shiny Mustang there in front of us. So we set this up. So the race on Saturday is GT3 and GT4. So we're in a GT4 car. The GT4 cars are more in line with the road-based variations of the cars. So they're not quite as aerodynamically advanced. They're not quite as nimble. They're not quite as fast through the corner. But they're a hell of a lot of fun to drive. A hell of a lot of fun to drive. I actually really quite like it. The GT3s are very fun as well. But a lot of us at Missed Apex Racing League spent a long time driving the GT3 cars in Assetto Corsa Competizione. So we're kind of a little bit, I don't want to say bored with them, but we kind of feel like they're just there, and the sort of vanilla part of the game, like they're just easy to get into, and we wanted something a little bit more fun, which is why we branched out into some of these different cars. So my favourite at the moment, as you can probably tell, is the Aston Martin GT4. It's not the fastest car on track, because it's just not. That's the way the parity works in motorsport, or balance of power actually in GT cars. But I'm happy with it, so it doesn't bother me. I'm happy driving it, I'm happy to race it, I'm happy to spend hours and hours and hours in it this month. Now, what we're trying to do today is learn this track, and I'll probably be here again later in the week as well. Probably be here later in the week, because I've really decided that I'm going to set myself a goal to get good at driving a car as opposed to driving 6 million different cars in the hope of getting results and that sort of stuff. So Travi's got a lot of talking to do over the next month as well, so I will be relying on you viewers as this channel grows to ask questions and give me things to talk about, but I also will give you the joy of just listening to the race car travelling around the track at some stage as well, because who doesn't love listening to a pretend race car on a pretend... Oh, it's not even a pretend game, it's a real game. Who doesn't love listening to a pretend race car on a computer game that they're watching? Hey, stop going faster than me. I was the fastest for a second there. We're going to leapfrog times, I can feel it. Actually, what car are those guys in? They're all in GT4s. We know Jumbo's in the Porsche. I think Michael there at the top of the leaderboard's in the Porsche as well. And you can smash those chicanes. I do recall that from watching some other much better YouTubers than me. There we go, I got the fastest lap back. Take that, Michael. So, we'll touch on... I just commented on that. I said Michael's taken the lap from me, and then I laughed as I took it back. So I got a bit of a friendly advice in my ear there from Michael for stealing his fastest lap again. That's what it's about. And as I said, I will invite these boys into chat so you can hear what's going on with them, and we may do some endurance racing or something together as the months go on to see and hear what happens in the leagues. It'll be a bit of fun, I think. But Leukodystrophy Australia is the reason Laps for Leuko is here, and believe it or not, is the reason that that Racing for James is back again as well. As a lot of us do when we play video games, we think about building a YouTube channel. We think about getting involved in that sort of community. But I decided that that I needed to do it, and got a GT3 up the inside. I decided that I needed to really do it and have a reason behind why I wanted to be on YouTube. So I'm not here for millions of followers. Hell, it'd be nice, absolutely. I'm here to do what I want to achieve and show in my life, which is a Crash GT4 and GT3. So
Sorry, man, I had no idea you were there.
I am here for my own reasons, and my own reasons are to. They're paying him out in chat for that. So we are here to share our message and our journey, which again we'll talk about my side of the story in a later stream. But this one here is just a bit of a chat about Leukodystrophy Australia and what they do for families like mine. And we are very, very, very new to Leukodystrophy Australia. We obviously found them after chatting with our genetic counsellors following the diagnosis of James with leukodystrophy, and since then we've really just started to explore what they do, how they help families, and why they're around. So we've got I actually had a phone call today. Had a really good phone call today with Leukodystrophy Australia, and they've got a upcoming family day. So every year they try and get together in home states, because it is inherently difficult to bring a whole group of people, and especially with the challenges that are associated with leukodystrophy, it is inherently difficult to bring all of the families together at any one time. I saw that. I'm going to try and get it back again though. So they do put on a luncheon for families in states. So it's coming up to South Australia's turn in late October actually. So we're really looking forward to meeting some of the community. We have only been with the community for 4 or 5 months, but the conversations I've had with them give me a lot of reassurance that they are there to help us, and they are there to help families, and knowing that we're going to be meeting families that are living the same lives as us, with varying difficulties, with varying highlights, with varying nerves, varying worries, all of the above. So it's going to be good to meet them, and I've had a chat with the family advocate today, like I said, and they give me a lot of confidence that it's going to be really nice to put some families together and just share a bit of experience and talk about what we're going through, what they're going through, and let our children meet as well, because that's the most important thing, is having the children around together. Now, I have since learned that James is, I think, one of the youngest in our state with leukodystrophy. I think all the other families that we're aware of, their children are growing up a little bit, which is going to be amazing to see as well. Because one of the scary things for us is what does the future look like? The future in life is never guaranteed for anyone, but with leukodystrophy, it's unknown. It's unknown, and that's the beauty of what I've learned is from this experience, is to really enjoy every single day, and it reminds me to do that. So, well, I'm going to wear out my suspension if I keep hopping over those curbs. That's going to be quite a mission.
Flat for you.
This is going to be actually a fun little drive for the weekend. So as I said before, it will be a 3-hour drive here. So we've been driving for, how long have we been driving? Not very long. I've already done, this is my 10th lap. It's going to be a lot of laps. That's half the fun. The Aston is actually really good here. Maybe I'm hoping that we're going to be on for a win. I was complaining in the last stream that the Aston Martin wasn't the strongest car, but let's find out, hey? One thing's for sure, I'm probably going to do more laps than anyone else that's doing the race on the weekend in preparation of this. That's my goal. Now let's have a look what lap time he did. Oh, we're only 12 tenths off the pace. I wonder if those curves are going to cause tyre damage or wheel damage throughout the race. So we just heard in the chat there that we've got Punt excited about the GT4s. The OP car is going to be the Racing for James Aston Martin, boys. That's going to be the OP car. It's going to do a lot of laps here, that's for sure. So it's going to do a lot. There's heaps of GT3s here. This is awesome. So GT3s are by far the most popular cars. So many people drive them. We are catching up to Jumbo again. Let's go get him. We're going to get the draft from him. Got to watch that off track on that one. I'm going to waste all my off tracks.
That was your fastest lap of the session.
So as I mentioned, Leukodystrophy Australia is the sole reason we're here, and I've written a few dot points. So I am. You've got to forgive me. I am learning YouTube and learning and learning to talk for hours on end on a camera to myself as well. So while we're in the early days of this channel, and I don't have any expectations on growth like I spoke about before, but I do have to learn to segue and change topics a little bit better. But Leukodystrophy Australia, they were formed in 1992 by a lady by the name of Dr. Julie Thomas. She's got the Order of Australia medal as well. And it was originally started with the idea to provide information and support for parents and families living with leukodystrophy, and their philosophy, their whole existence hasn't changed from that. What has changed in the background is the healthcare system, the levels of support through the government in Australia. We're very fortunate in Australia to have a pretty good healthcare system. It does have its flaws at the moment, like most healthcare systems. Obviously, with the growing population and aging population, it is sort of pushed to the limits. But in Australia here we've got something called the NDIS, which is the National Disability Insurance Scheme, which provides funding and support for children up to, I should know this, I believe it carries over until children are 17, I think. So we're very, very lucky to have that. Like I said, it's something that's there. It gives families that reassurance that the government is there to help families with medical concerns, and as you know, you might not know either, but a life with additional needs can often be quite expensive. Appointments, therapies, healthcare, early intervention, all of that stuff is a huge cost to families, and often, more often than not, families that have children with disabilities are also limited in their ability to work because of the sheer amount of care and time required to care for these children.
Right side. Clear.
So it's nice to have that that safety net in the background as well.
Right side. Clear on the right.
There's another Mustang. I think there's going to be a lot of GT3 Mustangs. Yeah, so Leukodystrophy Australia, as I said, are a support network. Their main role and their main mission is family advocacy. And I want to touch on my first interaction with Leukodystrophy Australia. So we didn't know a lot about it. So when you get a diagnosis like this, you don't know what to do. You don't know who to turn to. You just don't know where to go. There's so much information on the internet. Do you believe it all? Is it right? Is it what you need to know? But we had a look around, and as I said, the genetic counsellor that we were talking to through this process steered us towards Leukodystrophy Australia. When I say steered, like they obviously advised us that the service was there. So I made contact through the internet. So I did a bit of a Google search to Leukodystrophy Australia, and I found that you can sign up to be a member for Leukodystrophy Australia. So families, however, directly affected by Leukodystrophy Australia can become free members, obviously. So that's what they're there to support. But if you do have a passion for helping families and want to help where you can make a difference, you can be a member of Leukodystrophy Australia for a small yearly fee. And that money, much like a donation, goes a long way to helping families through avenues that we'll talk about a bit later in this stream as well. But they are, as I was saying, my initial contact with Leukodystrophy Australia was incredible. They're very, very transparent. At the time I joined, their original family advocate was going through some of her own health issues, so they couldn't get back to me in a timely fashion, and they were extremely apologetic and sympathetic of the fact that I may have wanted to speak with somebody sooner, but that wasn't the case. I am fully aware that these organisations are pushed to the absolute limits, and Leukodystrophy Australia, much like every other organisation,
New fast flat for you.
is managed completely by volunteers. So they have their own families, they've got their own jobs, they've got their own lives, and they volunteer their time to help and support families like ours. So I reached out and I spoke with a lady by the name of Tracy, who's the current family advocate for Leukodystrophy Australia. And we spent, I'd hazard to guess and say, a good hour on the phone. New tune. Are you? I'm running the endurance one. It's actually not too bad. Yeah, nice. Yeah, nice. I'll finish this tank of fuel. I'll pop in and I'll have a look, mate. Cheers. That was Jet. Just letting me know that he's made some changes to the tune. This is going to be a hot and sweaty 3-hour race on Saturday, guys and girls. This is much busier than the Nürburgring Nordschleife that we raced at yesterday for 4 hours. I don't know why, because that track's long and it's got lots of corners and lots of technical sections, but this just seems like the corners come up really fast and they're bouncy. Now, who's got Chris has the fastest lap now. What lap time are we chasing? Oh, only 500ths. We're chasing 500ths of a second. Yeah, so I was saying I spoke with Tracy for a good hour, and it was one of the most relaxed conversations I've probably, I don't know if I'd say I'd ever had, but it's like at the time I instantly knew that these people were here to help. Tracy spoke with a sense of calming in her voice and an inquisitive nature as well. Very, very interested in where our lives are at and how we got to the point we're at to get in touch with Leukodystrophy Australia. And it was really really reassuring, and we had an amazing chat, and I love that sort of stuff. Like I really love to talk on a personal level, and just share. Like I said, Tracy shared her story, we shared ours, and we set out a bit of a plan about what we might need or what we would like from Leukodystrophy Australia. And for me at this particular point in time, because we're still learning our way through our new life, my answer to that was pretty simply not a lot. Not a lot, because I don't know what we need. I don't know. There's never an expectation on what people should need in this situation, but it's a very, very nice and generous question to just know that they are there if we do need something, and they can't promise everything. They're certainly not there to do that. They're not going to fix the world's problems, but they did offer us some advice for supporting our children in general, so both our children and also ourselves, to make sure that we're actually on track with our care in looking after James, because it is inherently difficult to manage work, caring, social expectations, the house, balance, life, everything, irrespective of the complexity of a disability as well. So it was reassuring to know again that Tracy and Leukodystrophy Australia
That was your fastest lap of the session. Car 1, just set the fastest lap.
genuinely cared about our welfare as well, because my biggest, to go off topic a little bit, my biggest gripe, and like I said, this ties into why I thought Leukodystrophy Australia was amazing in that respect. With the NDIS and the support network from there, it is solely for the participant, and I've always been a firm believer that the carers of these people, parents, family members, grandparents, whatever, need as much care potentially as the participants themselves. So it's nice to know as a parent, and I guess, like I said, it's not a criticism of the NDIS. They do an incredible job, but it is nice, I guess, to have that reassurance from an organisation like Leukodystrophy Australia to provide a support network for parents, brothers, sisters, family members as well, and that's one of the most important things, because we've got the opportunity to communicate with people who have been through the same situations, who are going through, who will be going through, and there'll be more that join, unfortunately, because as this disease becomes more diagnosed, there will be people like us. As I said, from what I understand, I think one of the youngest children. We will be one of the youngest going to the family meet. So there will be more, because James is turning 13. shortly. So no doubt there'll be somebody else coming through that is in the same position that we're in right now. They may be a little bit younger. They may be finding out at the same time as we are. So what I learn and my experience from Leukodystrophy Australia and the communication that I give back to them will help them help other people in the same position as me. So I think it's ultimately important to me to keep those lines of communication open, and I think Leukodystrophy Australia really nailed that in my first experience with them. It was incredible. So I hope that portion made sense. I really do hope so, because it made sense in my head. It did bounce around a bit, but that's just the nerves of me streaming on YouTube and learning, as I said, how to talk to myself and how to keep a conversation going for a couple of hours at a time. So it is nice to have a bit of a pause as we come into these chicanes though. Leaning on the ABS quite a lot as we go into those.
Car 1, just set the fastest lap. 24.817.
Those guys are in the Porsche and they're going a little bit faster than us. Got to use more track on this exit here. There we go. There's a cloud cover coming over. That's where I'm losing a lot of time in that corner. Who's the slow car? There he is.
Go right.
So going back to do some coaching with Dave, who's 2 cars back behind us. They're both running the Porsche. Now, we're not going to be aiming for another 800-kilometre drive today. We are, as I said, driving for 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours stint. I think it'll be a fluctuating field. As I said, there are a few hosted sessions on iRacing, and there are a few other events. Going on, because it is the last night of official races before week 13 officially kicks off. But during week 13, we'll see if we can jump in and do some silly races and have a bit of fun. Have told James that we'll get in and drive a NASCAR. That's probably the best time to do it during week 13, because if we did it during an official series, we'd probably get a ban, and then we wouldn't have a laps for Leuko because we'd be banned, and that wouldn't be ideal. So we could have laps for Leuko whilst Travis is sitting on the couch watching other YouTubers race. That would be interesting. We could turn it into a podcast instead. Listening for Leuko, we could call it. Something along those lines. Oh dear. I did make the almost made the mistake today of putting trackies on while I drove again. I got 2 hours into the Nürburgring race yesterday and realised that the triple screens around me are incredibly warm, and it's pretty cold here in Adelaide today, and I decided that no, I'll put my trackies on, and then 3 minutes before the race I thought, no, don't do it, Travie, and I went and put my shorts back on, and I'm glad I did, because it's so
That was your fastest lap of the session.
So Jumbo and Volt are driving together for 3 hours.
Car stopped ahead.
A yellow flag. It's cleared. I think Punt is alluding to the fact he might be doing it solo. I think Chris is going to do it solo by the sounds of it as well. He's Autobat. We're going to be driving, so myself, Chris and Dave, you'll see the names below me on the left hand side. We're going to be driving the 6-hour LMP2 race at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It's a road course much like this. It's on an oval, the Indianapolis Oval, but it goes onto the infield and has a road course section as well. So these Rovals, as they call them, road and oval combinations. You've got the Daytona road course. It's not called a Roval, which they missed that opportunity. Charlotte Roval and Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So they're the three that I know of. There's probably more out there, but these are the big ones. And this is, I think this is a legacy track anyway in iRacing, so it's not used all that often. But it's going to be fun for this particular test event for iRacing. It's going to be a tight, twisty little track with potentially, I think, 60 cars on it in any one split. And basically iRacing has asked for as many people as they can get to enter the races. So I'm entering the race. Anything I can do to help grow the game we invest so much in. Like we've invested a lot in this game. I'm not going to pretend we haven't. It's not a cheap video game, but the game itself is updated every 3 months. They do a massive update. Provide extra content that you can buy. You don't have to buy that content. Like I've got a lot of content now that means that I can play the game for hours and hours and hours without having to worry about anything. Some weeks there might not be as many races available, but most of the time there's plenty if you've bought enough content.
Flat for you.
But yeah, every 3 months they do an update of the graphics and the physics systems and all of that sort of stuff. It's for a fan or a motorsport enthusiast or someone wanting to learn to race cars or anything like that, it's a really, really good way to get into it. Like I said, I keep saying like I've said, I've got to break the habit. I have said before, I've got the simulator set up in my living room. The part of the reason for setting up the triple screens, it's like it was something I wanted for myself because I do spend probably more time than I should in the simulator. But a part of the justification for setting up the triple screens was because it's a bit of an entertainment hub for when we have the young kids' mates over, etc. Like when we used to go to the arcade when I was a kid and you'd go and play on the Daytona racing games, etc. Like it's something that's a bit of fun. And I plan to actually set up I don't know if anyone had watched the Stig and the Top Gear. Top Gear. It took me a minute to think of the TV show there, where they had a leaderboard for a star in a reasonably priced car. I'm considering putting up behind the screens there a bit of a leaderboard where if we're entertaining, we can have people, if they do want to have a go in the sim, we can pick a car and a track and they can try and beat a fast lap. Just again for that bit of entertainment value, something a bit of fun. So it is built for me, and the ergonomics of the simulator are for me. That's what I based it on. However, it's here with the purpose of the kids using it and James as well. I spoke with my wife probably a month ago, and then probably a month before that, and probably a month before that about getting rid of the triple screens because it takes up a fair bit of room in the living room. So I had spoken with her about getting rid of the screens and just going back to one. However, when we get James in the simulator, it's really, really good for him to be able to look around the screens. He absolutely loves looking around the screen, so having it accessible for him and being able to use it is probably the sole reason I'm actually keeping the triple screens. Besides the fact that I love them, I could quite easily do without them as well. It's not something I have to have. It's a nice to have feature. I'm just talking to myself here, just running laps, and yeah, the times are slowly coming down. Yep, come back, come at me, mate. So the banter's going on in chats because I took the fastest lap again, and that's half the fun of these. Like I said, we'll be in a league race, and it is a pretty funny joke when somebody will set the fastest lap and then you'll see the other cars come out of pits in practice or whatever. It's a bit of fun. You can also use the iRacing method of push to pass, just push them out of the way and go past. I shouldn't joke about that sort of stuff, but it does happen. And you would have actually seen me, if you have a look on my YouTube shorts, you will unfortunately see me doing a push to pass at probably a third of the way into the first lap at the Nordschleife. I did redress the position though, because I felt like an absolute criminal for doing it. I'm thinking I'm going to actually love racing here. Now Simon, who's in the chat there, isn't one of ours, one of our league guys, so, but I also can't hear what he's saying, so I don't know if that's because I'm streaming or whether his microphone's not working. But he's out on track now, so. Toasty. I will take my beanie off. I've got 20 laps left before I have to pit. So the Leukodystrophy Australia, the current president, his name is Earl. So Leukodystrophy, like any other charity organisation, any other social organisation, has a committee that runs it. And I mentioned all those committee members are volunteers. So Earl is the president, and we were put in touch through Tracy, and I hope it was Tracy. I've spoken with a couple of ladies there, and I'm fairly confident most of my interaction has been with Tracy. But we were put in contact with Earl as I touched base with them about racing for James. But the other purpose of being put in touch with Earl was for peer support. So it's something I'll talk about in a few minutes as well. But Earl was the guy who they said, "Hey, Trav, get in touch with him. We sound pretty like-minded, and we can have a bit of a chat with each other." So I spent, I'd hazard a guess to say, a good hour on the phone with Earl the very first time we spoke as well. And Earl was quite inquisitive, much like Tracy, about our life, about our story and what we were doing here. And also the Racing for James process. So we covered a lot in that very first phone call. And Earl was super supportive of what we're here to do at Racing for James, and it's important to have the charity on board with that as well, because it's so easy to just say, hey, I'm going to dedicate this to this charity. But having a personal connection with them, much like everything else, helps me give depth and reason to the project. And as I said, having the interaction with Earl and with Tracy and eventually with the other committee members at Leukodystrophy Australia, it humanises them as well and gives them the respect that they deserve through the effort that they're putting into helping me. And as I said, they're helping my family cope with a pretty stressful time, but they're also helping build faith, helping me build faith in myself to make this project happen. And it's a two-way street, like anything in life. Whether it be your workplace, whether it be your schooling, whether it be deciding to go to the gym or deciding to go for a run, or deciding what you want to do in life, it's a two-way street. You've got to put in what you want back out of it, and we don't always have that opportunity to do so. I'm in a very, very lucky position where I can give back a little bit. I've got these facilities, I've got this equipment in my living room that allows me to do this, and I don't want to say I feel obliged to, because I don't feel like I need to do this. I feel like I want to do this. This is the concentrated part of the track. It's something that's always been on my mind as something I'd like to do for career and life, etc. Is to help people, and I do help people in my job, and I get fulfillment through all of that. But doing it on this sort of level, where I've got a personal connection to the reasons I'm doing it, it does help make it a lot more purposeful, in my opinion. So, but from what I understand, and as I said, I am only beginning my time with Leukodystrophy Australia. I understand that Earl is one of the longest serving. I think your best way to describe it. Thanks very much, Jumbo. Take care, buddy. Thanks, Mr. Volt. I appreciate it, man. You're welcome, mate. I'll see you on Saturday and you'll smash it. Yeah, so as far as I understand, Earl is the longest serving member at Leukodystrophy Australia. I don't know how long he's been there. It's something that I could probably endeavour to learn, and I'm probably going to see if I can get maybe Earl and Tracy on a stream later in the month. I know they've got busy lives as well, and they've got families and work commitments and all that sort of stuff, but it might be nice to actually hear from those guys and have a chat with them about what it's like to bring in a new member like myself, to bring in a new family, and the process they go through to make that happen. I think it'd be a pretty good insight into what happens. And I had a chat with a couple of colleagues at work recently about exactly that. Is that when you have children, there's no rule book for any children. Like, life is what you make it and how you make it. However, when you have a child with a disability, that process is even more blurred. Like, it's even harder to work out where you fit in, harder to work out where you're based in society. So organisations like Leukodystrophy give you a sense of belonging. They give you that place to fit in, and that assistance to help make your decisions in life and help steer you on the right track with the information you need. So it's interesting how as we scrape the wall. Now, I've lost track of where I was going with that part of the conversation. I did say earlier, so if somebody wants to coach me with how to speak to yourself for 2 hours on social media, I'd be more than willing to accept that challenge. But it's going to be a goal of mine through this month to just let the nerves go and have a bit of fun with this sort of stuff. And as I said, I am learning what Leukodystrophy Australia are about, because I'm so new to it, just as much as you guys are learning what I'm about watching this stream. I think we're going to do quite a few laps today. What have we got? So we've done 32 laps, we've got 15 left, so it's at 47 laps per tank, somewhere around that mark. And this car gets about an hour per tank, I think it was, based on what we were getting at the Nürburgring. I think an hour and 5 minutes per tank. So we're going to go through a fair bit of petrol tonight, doing our bit for global warming. Pretend fumes into the atmosphere. So today was Monday in Australia. I believe in America it's just turned over to the first day of the month, which will be the first day of Leukodystrophy Awareness Month for those people. We got the privilege of starting it earlier yesterday. And a lot of the community I actually interact with online are, well, I think a lot of them are based in America, purely just based on population density. But sorry, mate, what was the question? I've got 14. Did you fill up the tank? No. So yeah, it starts with half a tank, I think. So yeah, it holds 105 litres. So it looks like about 47 laps per stint, mate. Yeah, no, it's going pretty well actually. I think it's going to be well over an hour per stint. Yeah, and then the other tune that was in there was the opposite. It would only get to about 65 litres and it would tell you it was too low. So it's interesting how they've done that. I couldn't get so I tried with the, I think it was the sprint tune, and I couldn't get that to hold 105 litres, like I couldn't get the back of the car high enough. This track is actually quite a lot of fun. I think I mentioned that before. Yeah, I have as well. Like I said, I'm on the endurance one now, the standard one. I'm pretty comfortable in that.
Car stopped on the right.
Does it let you smash the curbs with it being stiff today? Oh, nice. Well, I've got a few test sessions coming up in this track, mate, so I'll try it tonight as well. Yeah, I'll save it before I jump out for sure. As I was just chatting with Jet, he's in the Aston Martin at the moment. He was saying he's made a couple of extra changes to the front sway bar, but I was a bit worried if it stiffened up too much that it would not absorb the bumps over the curbs, because you can hit the curbs, even though they're very, very brutal in height. The car does bounce over them pretty well at this track. So I'd be thinking a stiffer sway bar would actually unsettle the car a little bit. I don't know enough about tuning the cars to understand that. But I would have thought, just trying to do the maths on that, so if it's stiffer, it affects the rotation at the front of the car, like the weight balance at the front. I'll absolutely give it a try. They're happy to try anything twice. We have a league race tomorrow, so tomorrow's stream will start at 6:30, 7 o'clock Eastern time, 6:30 my time. And tomorrow's stream will be a league race. I'll be racing the IR18 IndyCar at Long Beach Street Circuit. So I had originally planned to only stream Aston Martin racing, like events like practice laps like this and fixed races, but we have started in iRacing's week 13, so there's no official content. And I do want to keep touch with the league side of it as well. Like I said, they are in my ears at the moment. I'm in Discord chat with them as well, and I really want to keep in touch with them because they've been super pivotal in racing for James and supporting this as well. All of the boys at Missed Apex Racing League, as far as I'm aware, all of the boys run the Racing for James logo on their car, and they have offered a lot of support. And as as I said, not too long ago, they've been a great bunch of people to chat with when you just need a chat after a crappy day at work or a hard day home. Thanks, Punt. Take it easy, buddy. So we will be here on our own shortly. There's only Chris left. I don't mind. I will be driving on my own. I don't care. I'm here to drive for as long as I can and push through the long stints. I will be driving for 2.5 hours is my goal tonight. So effectively 2.5 tanks of. What I'm going to do. So sometime before the end of this month, I'm going to remember to look up what fuel the Aston Martin runs. My best guess is going to be E85, but if I don't tell you guys what the Aston Martin runs before the end of this month, because I'll probably forget as soon as I jump off the stream, somebody needs to hold me to account for that. So make that your mission there. Anyone who's watching, remind me to tell you what the Aston runs, and I can then tell you how many litres of that we're wasting. Got 9 laps. We're about 13 minutes away from our first pit stop. Sorry, I was actually concentrating on not crashing the car there, which is why I paused. I did the maths in my head. We're about 13 minutes away from the first pit stop, so we've been at it for, I'd hazard a guess to say 45 minutes now. And I think a lap around here was 3.67 kilometres from memory, so 38 laps. So let's go for... I should concentrate on driving more than I should concentrate on trying to maths 3.67 times 38. But we're looking at a few more kilometres tonight. It was quite funny when I jumped out of the simulator yesterday and I did the maths on the distance I travelled. Thanks very much, Jet. Take it easy, buddy. Yeah, I did the maths on it. It was actually equivalent to a trip from Adelaide to Melbourne, which I drove in my living room, and I'm blown away by that. I got out of the simulator and it didn't even feel like I'd done that sort of journey. I guess because I didn't have the motion of the car or anything. I was just doing it with my arms and legs. It certainly felt like my legs had run a marathon, because pushing the load cell brake in the simulator is quite full on. Thanks very much, buddy. Thank you. Yeah. No, I appreciate it, man. You gonna run this on Saturday? Nice. You gonna do it solo? 3 hours, yeah. It is a ranked race. It's not. Unfortunately, it's ranked, because I thought if it was unofficial, it'd be a good one. So if you didn't make it, it wouldn't matter. But it is official, so your rating will be on the line. But it's a good way to get into it. It's a bit of fun, eh? Yeah, mate. Yeah. I think we'll definitely. I'm in the teams one for the 6 hour. I might even do this twice. Maybe I will team up and do it solo on Sunday. Maybe let's chat during the week, eh? Awesome, man. Cheers, buddy. Appreciate it, man. So just I might actually. I was chatting with Chris there. I might actually team up with him on Saturday night, and then I can do the race solo on Sunday. Because I can always get some more laps up. I can get some more laps up by. There'll be other race. All right, let's see how we go. I'll chat with Chris, and we might team up for the Saturday race and then do the Sunday morning race solo. If I sneak in an early Sunday morning stream, and then head out with the family in the afternoon, and then do a Sunday night stream. We have been doing oval races on a Sunday night lately, so that might be the opportunity you're hearing this first, this is breaking news because it's not on my schedule, that might be the day we get James in the sim rig to drive an oval on the Sunday night, because it is week 13 and there will be some sort of stupid oval scenario where you drive who knows what, a Mazda MX-5 generally around Charlotte Oval. Something like that we could do. But tonight it's just you and me, and the Charlotte Roval and the Aston Martin. Everyone, somebody did join, but I think they've seen that there's only one car lapping, so they've left. We did have a couple of GT3s. There was 10 cars on the track at one stage there. However, I don't particularly care if it's just me, or I don't care if the grid's full of 60 people. These laps will be happening, and they will all be counting towards my Laps for Leuko challenge. I've already committed, I took my watch off, but I've already committed to driving until 10 o'clock my time. Then my wife will be watching the block, keep her entertained, and she'll be quietly listening to me dribbling in the background. That was my excuse to get out of watching the block. I have typically watched the block, but I decided that Laps for Leuko was going to be my September mission. Well, the tyres are getting a bit warm now, and what I noticed there was I actually ruined that whole sector, so I actually got a bit unsettled in the early part of that sector, and then that carried through, so it's very easy to lose a lot of time on a track when you've got successive corners that need the weight of the car set up to get through. So something like here, if you mess up the entry to one of these, it makes this exit really hard. And like you just saw, the ones before that, I ended up right up on the wall on the outside of the track because I had the weight of the car pushing me out. So super critical. But I have been looking at my lap times, and my lap times are pretty consistent from what I can see throughout the weight, throughout the loss of weight and tyre grip. So we're burning off, I don't know how much fuel we're using per lap, 3 litres per lap, 2.3 litres per lap, somewhere around that mark. So the weight is coming off gradually over the course of a stint. So each time we go around these corners, it changes ever so slightly the balance of the car, the weight of the rear of the car, the way the rear tyres grip up. But it's good to know that the lap times have only varied by a second throughout a tank. So it'd be interesting to see what the tyre wear's like. Punt, who was in before, mentioned that he'd only got his tyres down into the 80s. He completed, I think, 18 laps. So I'd hazard a guess to say ours would be down in the
You've got about 5 laps of fuel.
60s. I thought that was Jeff saying my tyre wear was going to be a problem. But he was nice to me, he said I've only got 5 laps of fuel. And we'll pit like we would anywhere else. Check to make sure we've got 105 litres going in. No, don't crash, Travity. We didn't crash. Here comes little Mitchell. Hey, buddy. You good? Bedtime? 2 seconds, guys. I'll just put myself on mute and get myself in a position. Little Mitchell heading off to bed. James has already gone to bed. I think he's having a bit of a growth spurt at the moment. He likes to just eat and sleep. all in this pretend race car. There's a clock right over in the back there. It's not marble. I don't know too many race cars that have ovens in them. So I was saying the fuel. So we've got 105 litres going in, and we'll get 4 new dry tyres. That was a slower lap because I was really just talking to my lad, saying goodnight to him. Okay, so we've really heated up the tyres there on that weight shift. So interesting with 3 laps ago. Maybe I've become more aware of it. Now because I am here on my own, I've got a little bit distracted, and I think that's what it is actually. I think that's what's happened there, because I was driving super consistent and nothing's really, I'm going to blame myself for not paying attention through that and letting complacency, is that the word? I was getting complacent with my inputs over the over that change in the track, the undulations. 2.9 laps to go, so I should be able to fuel save and get an extra lap. We'll have a look and see. How many off tracks have I got? I've got 2 off tracks. I got 21 in 4 hours at Nürburgring Nordschleife. 21 is the number for racing for James, so we'll say that's a deliberate feat, even though it greatly changes my average. I think the boys have... Yeah, just leave me in there. I can always jump out if I need to, but what are you guys up to? Oh, nice. Are you playing COD Pun? Nope. Just shooting the shit? Cool. So the boys...
We're going to need rubber soon. Take it easy now.
Yes. No, go for it, mate. What do we got? Yeah, so I will be... they will keep an eye on it, and they'll let me know. I don't have a direct way to track it at this stage. I did want to put a donation counter on the top of the screen. But no, I don't have anything like that in place at this stage, because I'm realistically not expecting to raise a huge amount while it's in its infancy, but we'll see how we go. Yep. So I spoke with Leukodystrophy Australia, and they mentioned that they'd seen a few donations come in. So obviously, put 2 and 2 together with those. I'm imagining, or other people have done the same thing as well. So, but yeah, I will certainly see. I'm going to their AGM in October, so I'll have an idea after September. But yeah, it's something that I'll figure out, and if we raise a little bit, I'll start keeping a track of it and see what happens. I've got a future in politics yet, you reckon? So Jumbo was just asking, obviously because we're doing this for charity, whether there was a way to keep running tally. So I did want to. I did have thoughts about seeing if I could track donations at the top of the screen next to the Racing for James logo. But because this is a very, very new project, I honestly don't have any expectations or hope on amount of donations. Every little bit helps. That's all I keep coming back to. There's no pressure on anyone watching to make a donation, but every dollar does help, and it does give you that tax deductible option as well. But like I said, it would be nice in the future if this project does grow to have that tally up there and give the viewers a bit of an idea on how this project is going and whether it's being successful or not. So we'll keep posted on that. We'll see what happens with that. You would have heard in the You would have heard in the game audio just a second ago, Jeff say we need rubber soon. So my front tyres are down to 50 and 49% respectively. So you get that message when your tyres actually get down to that 50% mark, and it gives you a bit of a reminder to actually get out there and fill up. So we've got an hour and 10 minutes to go in the car, which is probably only one more tank of fuel by the look of it. We're almost full. We are good to go.
All clear, punch it.
So Jeff gives us the all clear. So we've done 47 laps, so we'll get another 47 laps in. Forgot my hit limiter. Now the guys, so like you would have heard me having a chat with Jumbo there. So we spun. That's our first spin today. We'll get 2x for that one for losing control. And a slowdown, Jeff. Come on, Jeff. It's not Jeff's fault. It's iRacing. So effectively, wow, the car's a lot heavier in the back. That's cool. So effectively, we'll do 94 laps today. See if we can get to the 100 laps. If we get to 100 laps, that'll be 360 kilometers on top of us. We'll be crossing the 1,000 mark, which will be pretty cool. But we'll see how we go. As I said, I do want to try and stick to my my plan of 2.5 hours a night. And make sure I can manage the streams during the week, which I should be able to do if I keep it to that 2.5 hours. The kids are sort of in bed. It's a quiet time anyway, so. But we are here, like I said, to talk about Leukodystrophy Australia, and I alluded to what they do earlier on. Like I said, their main job is, or their main heading, I guess, for what they do is advocacy. They've got social workers and support workers in place as well. So there are a series of volunteers on the committee and in around Leukodystrophy Australia. They are currently, I don't know if it's in place in all states, but they are looking at a peer support network as well, where other volunteers and parents such as myself can be involved and help give a point of contact for other families, just on a social level, and a little bit of support, but we're seeing how that project unfolds and what's in place with that at the moment. So the way Leukodystrophy Australia helps families, they help, well, at all times really. As I said, I've spoken with Earl and Tracy, just as a general conversation as a person to talk to instead of ears, somebody to help just make sure you're on the right track. But they do help with financial concerns with families as well in times of crisis, sudden change, emotional situations, family dynamics. If you have an issue with your family or a sudden change or extra family members or anything like that, like Leukodystrophy Australia can help and provide support and guidance in respect to that. They, as I said, they can assist financially. Leukodystrophy Australia doesn't receive any government funding. It's run purely on generosity of people like yourselves watching the stream that can contribute donations, and those donations are the money that ends up helping families. That's the exact funds that come from to help provide the care and support and the time to actually help support families if they need it. I spoke about it before. The NDIS doesn't cover everything, but with disabilities like Leukodystrophy Australia and the financial constraints of life, there might be items that you need that aren't covered under the NDIS. So Leukodystrophy Australia at times can help with those additional needs to help give families a little bit of
a little bit of peace of mind. They can, as said before, I had spoken with Earl as a part of my peer-to-peer network, and Leukodystrophy Australia, because they work so closely with individual families, they do try and align families to communicate on a peer-to-peer basis. They'll quickly work out who is best suited to touch base with other people, and not that everyone's not suited to touch base with each other. They're just ultra aware of the different dynamics in families living with this condition, and they have a bit of an idea on who might be able to help each other get through these hard times together effectively. So we, as I said before, are very, very new to the support of Leukodystrophy Australia, and we're just getting involved in all that peer support stuff. But it is something that's there, and it's something they're pretty proud of, the way they manage and help out families. I'm just reading, like I said, I'm not great at reading and transitioning, so, talking and transitioning between topics, so I'm reading some notes that I've got written here, and just trying to make sure that I cover off everything to make sure I spread enough of the word about what Leukodystrophy Australia do, from somebody who's new to that service. Like I said, we haven't been with them a long time, and I feel a good way to learn is by learning with you guys. I've got them to thank for doing this, and if I can share a little bit of their story, and as I said, I might even look to see if I can get Earl and Tracy on, if they've both got the time, and we can expand on this conversation today. But based on where I'm at and my experiences, effectively this is my understanding of how they help families and what they do for the community. And as I said, it is leukodystrophy they deal with. There are plenty of... We are, because we've got rocks in our head, but Jumbo said he really wants to do it because he loves Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It's his favourite track after Coda. So you're committed now? No, I haven't actually had a look yet. Is it on Trading Paints? Nice, I'll have a look after this, eh? So the boys are just... So Jumbo's Chop Shop, who painted our Aston Martin here, he's painting up the car for the Indianapolis 6 hour. So it's going to be good. We'll have a look at that. We might unveil that live at the end of the stream. What do you think? I'll see if I can do that. Actually, I don't think I can do that. What I'll do that tomorrow. I'll see if I can work out how to... I'm not going to be able to access the car without seeing it before you guys. Oh, help me, Rhonda. What I might have to do is I might have to put a blindfold on myself. Thanks very much, Punt. Take it easy, buddy. I'll be jammed in the hairpin somewhere, mate, so don't worry about that. Oh dear, oh dear. Okay, so where were we? I'll get through this chicane and we'll have a bit of a look at my notes and work out where we're at. As they don't text mod. I love it, mate. It's actually really good. It's really nimble around the corners, like over Bathurst, where I was fast across the top in the twisty stuff. This is in its element, mate. Just got to ask how I like the Aston at this track. So with the, I was touching on what Leukodystrophy Australia do, and I've mentioned about family advocacy. So with certain consents in place, Leukodystrophy Australia can also advocate on your behalf if you have extenuating circumstances with with health issues or anything like that, where you need, or if you're not in the right headspace, for example, you can appoint Leukodystrophy Australia to act on your behalf in certain circumstances, which is super important because they're intimately aware with the mental difficulties that come along with these sort of lifestyles. I don't know if that's the right word. Lifestyles is not the right word. With the lives that come along with disability, it is often quite a mental battle. And I've been there myself, and I'll have a chat about that in a future episode. Absolutely, it's a part of the story and something that I think, I say young man, I'm still young enough, I'm mid-30s, but as a young man, I've got to be open and honest with this channel, and a whole part of Laps for Leuko is raising awareness and sharing the darker parts of the story is a part of that process. So we'll have a bit of a chat about where we've been through all this. But as I said, Leukodystrophy Australia can provide some support in those difficult times as well. So they do a variety. As I said, they've got a lot of volunteers in the community that specialise. There's I think a couple of the people I speak with are nurses. I'm not sure what other backgrounds a lot of people have, but I'm assuming it's going to be in healthcare or lived experience, because living with these disabilities often provides you the best experience to manage mental emotions when helping other people. So it does teach you a bit of resilience. It does teach you a bit more compassion and understanding, because you know exactly what they're going through, having been there. So to touch on that, I did say that leukodystrophy volunteers are generally from a medical background, as far as I'm aware. They do have a medical network, so obviously the charity do align with health professionals to help understand what happens after you get a diagnosis, or what the diagnosis means to your family. Leukodystrophy has a lot of different variants, and we'll have a chat about what leukodystrophy is potentially tomorrow, or we may do that on Wednesday night. I'm not 100% sure yet. It's something we'll cover early because we'll talk about it again throughout this month, but I wanted to obviously introduce Laps for Leuko in the first episode, have a chat about Leukodystrophy Australia so you know what the organisation we're here representing is about. But we also need to know what leukodystrophy is. So if you do Google it and you've never heard of it like we have, we never heard of it, have a bit of a look. There is quite a lot of information on the internet, and it can be, I say confronting because it's true, it can be, but we'll have a chat about it. And to that point, like I said, leukodystrophy comes in many forms. We still don't understand the whole spectrum of leukodystrophy, but Leukodystrophy Australia, because they've got families all around the country, access to the health professionals that diagnose it and look for the varying symptoms and signs of leukodystrophy, they can help if something is a bit more unknown. If there's an odd symptom or an odd thing going on with a child, we can reach out to Leukodystrophy Australia and they can help point us in the right direction, find some literature, anything along those lines. And talking about finding literature, we when we first spoke with Tracy, part of that conversation was finding out ways to help support siblings, to obviously explain that journey to siblings, because it can be quite difficult for younger brothers and sisters to understand what's happening with their family member, because they just don't have the capacity to really understand the full scope of what's going on. So Tracy actually steered us in the right direction to a couple of books. They did actually try and help get one of the books, but it's not in print anymore. So I have downloaded the audio book, and I'll share that in the link below. I'll grab the title of it and share that. And like I said, there is a lot of literature out there. Leukodystrophy is I think I could describe it as a more recent finding in medical terms. It's considered rare, but again, coming from somebody who is very, very new, only 6 months into understanding our diagnosis with leukodystrophy, it is something that I think will potentially become it's something that will become less rare based on the ability to diagnose it more easily as technology advances. So we'll have a chat about that in the what is leukodystrophy and how we got to finding out that we are affected by it. But again, Leukodystrophy Australia can help talk about testing and what's involved in understanding your particular condition, because there's so many different types of it, and different ways it affects and different rates, because it is one of those disorders that affects everyone at different portions of their life, and different aspects of their physical abilities, and that's again another reason that we need the medical support to go back to, and Leukodystrophy Australia can advocate for them, so we can go to them and they can help us ask the right questions to get the right answers to get the best advice we can for our families and our children. We'll just take a break for a minute from talking about that sort of stuff. It's a fair bit to talk about. We've got a lot to cover in a couple of episodes, that's for sure. And like I said, doing it while we're racing a race car, it's hard work. The good news is, so far, I should have actually kept a crash tally, so I'm feeling pretty confident. We've only had one spin at this track, and I had one spin which resulted in... I'm not gonna lie. I had a crash at the Nürburgring. It wasn't a spin, it was just a slide into the wall. Much like here, I hit a curb and slid in and clipped the wall and damaged my suspension. So I've had one crash and one spin in what's now 33, 58, so 80, 91 laps. I don't know why, but before this I couldn't string together maybe 10 laps without spinning, so maybe what might happen is I might just stream every single day for the rest of my life while I'm driving, because it seems to be the magic trick to getting me to drive smoothly. I don't think I'd put you through that torture. I don't think I would. But maybe I will. Maybe I will, just because it's fun. And maybe by the time I gain enough experience to talk to you guys and make sense of myself, I might start spinning again. And then we'll be back to square one and we'll have to find a new way to not spin. So we're back in the working week here in Australia. We did Sunday's stream, so yesterday's stream started at 9. Started at 10 o'clock in the morning for us. It was supposed to start at 9, but the race started half an hour later than I predicted it to, so that was good. These ones here we'll be doing on a weeknight, so anything during the week will be at either 6:30 PM or 7:30 PM Australian Central Time, depending on when I've got physio and James has his appointments after school, etc. And that will, like I said, be 2.5 hour streams, because I don't think staying up till midnight streaming for 4 hours a night is the smartest move when I've got work on the next day. It might be fun. Maybe we'll do it one day. But we've also got 28 more days of streaming to get through as well, so I want to make sure that I don't push myself too far. I want to push myself to do as many laps as I can this month, and streaming every day will enable me to do that. But I also need to be mindful that I've got a family to support, and James needs me more than I need to burn myself out in a simulator. So we'll try and find that balance. That's part of the fun of doing this in real time. You guys get to see me go through the roller coaster and watch that all unfold. So this server is going to remain largely empty now. Generally, what time is it now? I think it'd be about 9:15 my time. Generally by now the participation in iRacing drops off. I'll have a look at the time. It's 9:10, not too bad, I guess. The participation does drop off because of the time zone. So the population of people in Australia that are playing video games at this time of night is very, very low. They're probably playing Xboxes, PlayStations and what have you, but we just don't have enough people. There's 22 million people in Australia. The percentage of people playing video games is quite low. So the European countries are off to work or whatever they're doing. It might be the middle of the night over there or whatever. So there's just not too many people around. During the day on a weekend, it's packed. Especially Saturdays where it's going into Friday night in Europe. The servers can be quite full, but that's just one of the hurdles that we face and why it's often hard to get. Yeah, I will say that it's often hard to get good races with people around the same ability. We don't get that many splits in racing, so we don't have, like, quite often I said it yesterday. Quite often I'll get put in the top split, which is the best drivers, but I don't belong there. I drive okay, but I certainly don't have the time in iRacing like some of those guys, and I don't have the experience to put in the lap times they do, so I'll fall to the back of the pack a little bit more. But I do have some brilliant racing as well. Like, don't get me wrong, there's been some good races happening, which is the most important thing. Just not as packed as I'd like. Whereas if you drive in the peak European times, you can get 50 car grids at tracks like this. Whereas when you race these so say it's 9 o'clock now in Europe, if this was a race, it might have 50 cars in it, but 9 o'clock in Australian time, it might have 15 cars in it. So the field sizes are generally a lot smaller. And as I said, that's directly proportionate to the population and people going to bed, getting ready for work, etc. So we deal with that. It'd be nice to have more, but we are absolutely lucky to be in Australia. It is a pretty good place to spend our lives. So if the worst thing that happens to us here is we don't get as many people playing our favourite video game, it's probably not all bad news, really, is it? I'm just gonna see if I can holler the wife and see if she can top up my water bottle. Let's see how this one goes. I might get a water bottle over the back of my head, or I might get some more water. That went surprisingly well. I'm getting free water. Okay, so we've got two more GT3s that have joined us. GT3s are signified at the bottom by the yellow cars. GT4s are blue. So these were just, as I said, randoms from the internet. Felix and Sammy. No idea where they're from. If you do jump into the iRacing menu, you can actually see what region they're from, which I think is really cool. It gives you an idea. One of them crashed and he's gone back to the pits already. Felix, no, Felix, don't do it. It's kind of cool that you can create these. So this is what's called a hosted session. So I've hired a server. So you hire an iRacing server, it's 50 cents per hour. And you can set up a session to whatever you want to drive, whatever car track combo you want to do. And you can either have it locked or open. So I've got this open so anyone can join. I've called the server Laps for Leuko, and I've put a bit of a spiel in the description about what it's for, and invited everyone to say hi to the number 21 car that will be running laps. So
You got a slow car on the left. You got a slow car on the left. Car stopped ahead.
there they go. So as long as they don't say hi by spinning us and crashing us, we'll be fine. Whether they read the the description or not, I don't know. But it's the way I want to advertise this, and I put a sponsored ad on Facebook as well to try and just get the word out there about what we're trying to achieve. I do know that this sort of content is not going to be for everyone, and I do know that this particular series of live streaming won't necessarily be a true reflection of the channel either. There will absolutely be a lighter side to this as I get myself more comfortable with the inner workings of YouTube and my confidence levels to speak and just be myself on a live stream. I am generally a fairly silly grown up child, and the person who's most at fault for that is James, because he actively encourages me to be silly. I would never encourage him to do that because it's not the right thing to do. No, just kidding, it is. But yeah, we do love a good laugh, and it's not uncommon at home here. I will get banned from the dinner table. Sometimes self-imposed bans, but sometimes I just get a bit funny, and we have a bit of fun. So we ban me from the dinner table so that James gets a bit more of a laugh out of it as well, and it's a bit of a family joke, which is quite cool. Oh, don't hit the wall. We didn't hit the wall. Have we got any damage?
Car looks fine. No damage to report.
Thanks, Jeff. The car looks fine. No damage. What about the weather?
We expect these conditions to continue.
That's good. Do you know why that's good, Jeff? Because I set it up to be just cloudy. I didn't want any rain. Could you imagine if iRacing make this race wet on the weekend as well? I don't think they will. I think it'll be dry. I'm fairly confident it will be dry because it's a test event with iRacing at stake. I don't think they'll want to increase the complexities for the user base when they're trying to gain data. So we'll see what that has in store. I'm pretty intrigued, like I said at the very start of the episode, I'm pretty intrigued to see what they do with it, because it might mean that racing from Australia in a limited field might change the balance of iRating maybe. Curious. Let's see. Let's see. We have Felix coming up on us. Felix is 7 seconds back. There's not a hell of a time difference between the GT3s and GT4s. GT3s can corner faster, but they're not that much different. They are 6 seconds to the fastest. 5 or 6 seconds a lap faster, around 3.4 kilometers, so it's not a huge difference. Over 3 hours though, the traffic will get pretty mixed. I'd like to hope that there'll be a fairly even split of GT3s and GT4s. However, we don't know what iRacing are going to try, and we don't know how many drivers will sign up in each category, because GT3 is quite popular as a series, so there'll be a lot of GT3 drivers. Equally, GT4 is quite popular, so maybe there'll be a lot of GT4 drivers. One thing's for sure, I can promise the GT4 crowd that I will be here in our Leukodystrophy Australia and Racing for James Aston Martin. I will be aiming to get car number 21, like we did at the Nordschleife. think the low numbers are fairly popular, so I'm assuming there'll be a lot of people that race car 21. But race car 21 is James's number. He doesn't have a choice in that. It is his number. It was dedicated to him. But we've claimed that number as our race car number. Now Sammy's in the pits now, and Felix has dropped back. I'm getting a little bit wiggly in the seat here. Lower back is giving me a little bit of grief. But we've got at least 26 laps before I can stretch my legs again. So good luck. Travis is back. Still lapping in there. We haven't been our best of a 24.8 yet, but we're still lapping in the 25s lap after lap, I think. So it seems the high 25s are probably going to be my race pace for the weekend. Bearing in mind I will be talking throughout that stream as well, so it won't be as I do a 28.860, 24.860, sorry. I can hear you, buddy. Thanks very much for hanging around, boys. I appreciate it. Currently 70 laps under my belt. Just doing 2.5 hours, so whatever that ends up being. It'll be every weeknight, it'll be 2.5 hours, and then on the weekends it'll be 4 or 5, depending on what I feel like doing, really. So I haven't set a lap goal. I just want to see how far I can drive, basically. Oh, mate, I'm thinking that for Sundays I'll probably spend like 5 or 6 hours on the stream just doing week 13 random stuff, because it will literally be fun. So yeah, I've got that in mind. Yeah, it should be fun. But we got fuckery tomorrow night. Oops, I just swore on the stream. Oh yeah, but it's Long Beach. Awesome, mate. I'll have a look once I jump out of the car here. Thank you very much, man. Thank you.
Go right.
Alright. We've got Felix behind us. Whoops. Oh, he went to go around the right side and I rode up onto him. Oh no. I think unfortunately Felix might have missed the fact that I was on the racing line, and he's got to go around the inside there. By the time it called car late, it was car right, it was a bit too late, so poor fella. Oh dear. That's alright, he's here for a good time as well, so see how it goes next time he comes up, and we might get a bit of a spin. Thanks, Jumbo, take it easy, mate. So we're effectively got half an hour to go. So I'm not going to completely watch the time. If we go a little bit over, it doesn't bother me too much. But we are... No stress, buddy. Thanks for hanging out again, man. I appreciate it. I really do, man. Thank you. Yeah, I'll be on every night as well, mate. So yeah, we'll chat, and like I said, oh, absolutely, mate. I'll get you into something. We'll I said league night, so oh, absolutely. Yep. Absolutely, mate. Let's figure it out, eh? Thanks, buddy. So that was the last of the mile guys leaving us. It is 9:30, so we've been on for... What time did we start? We started at 7 o'clock. We started at 7:30 my time, so we've been on for 2 hours now. We did start a little bit late because I messed up the server, because I am not great at technology. However, we made it work, and by the time we finish streaming laps of Leuko in a month's time, we'll be an expert at it and unstoppable. So the last couple of parts for Leukodystrophy Australia that I've got in my notes here. Oh, that was close. Don't read notes while you're turning into a concrete wall, Trevi. Just keep an eye on the cars behind us as well. So the other thing that the Leukodystrophy Australia do for the wider community is systemic advocacy. So effectively, they lobby for improved understanding and recognitions of people with neurological conditions. So they're fighting in our corner, doing things that we don't normally see or get involved in as well. So the committee will take care of a lot of that sort of stuff in the background. I think you might have heard before when I had a chat with Jumbo. So we are going to the AGM. I don't necessarily have a reason to be there other than I would like to go and meet the committee and have a look at the processes involved. I've been on sporting committees and that sort of stuff, so I understand how these AGMs work. But I think it's a good thing to do for the members of an organisation to get back in and be in a position where they can have their say. My intentions early on are I will abstain from any voting because I haven't been around long enough to understand the dynamics of the organisation enough to cast a vote for who I think is the best person for each role on the committee. However, as I said, I will, because of the investment they put into us as a family, I do intend to put back a bit of my time into them as well by being involved in those sort of things, because it's important to me for no particular reason other than it's the way that I am, and the thanks that I believe I can give back to this organisation is this project and the Racing for Jane project as a whole, but even just being involved in things like their meetings and the peer support network and the family days and that sort of stuff, because there will come times like there has been early on where I do need these guys in my corner as well. So the more we can do as a collective, the better this whole the whole thing can become, and the better we understand each other, and the better the community is for all of the work that everyone puts in. So it's all relative to everyone's input, like your workplace, like your school, like everything in life, like your family. You've got to put in, and I feel I need to put in. We don't have a choice over having leukodystrophy. That's something that's nobody has a choice over. It's one of those unfortunate miracles of life that you just have to deal with. But we've got a lot of good people in our corner. We've got a very good healthcare system, as you've heard today. We've got a very good advocacy group and support group in Leukodystrophy Australia. And to that point, you heard me talking about donations before. So this channel is about raising funds and awareness for Leukodystrophy Australia. We have a link in the channel description below, leuko.org.au/support us/donate now, I believe is the link. I will learn that off the top of my head by the end of this stream as well. So all donations in Australian dollars in Australia over $2 are tax deductible. So if you do have a spare couple of dollars that you could donate, and knowing now that every single one of those dollars goes to families living with this neurological condition by volunteers. So every dollar that you give to this community goes back into helping families that that need it for various reasons, but it is allocated and distributed by the right people and through the right avenues. So if you do, as I said, if you do have that and you like what we're doing here, that is the best way to support this channel. I don't have a donation counter going, and to be honest, I don't necessarily feel I need one. I'm here to spread the word, and I'm happy with donations being anonymous. And like I said, if we raise $50, if we raise $50,000, I don't have any goals in that respect, because I know that a little bit goes a long way, and that's the most important thing to me, is to not be worried about setting expectations, because with leukodystrophy, we're fortunate enough to do this, but we also don't know what's around the corner for tomorrow or what's around the corner for the next day. So can we do this long term? And knowing that I can do this, jump up and jump online and stream and have a bit of fun now, without having the pressure of a financial fundraising target, or even a target of how many laps I want to do or how many kilometers I want to do, it makes the whole project a little bit easier for me. And like I said, it may get to the point where we want to set a goal or set a challenge and even challenge ourselves. We might change our tone on that a little bit and have a bit of fun with it. But at this stage, I don't have that pressure. I don't want that pressure on myself for this project. But it's a roller coaster of adventure, and the more laps we do, the more inclined we might do to set challenges for ourselves. And as I said, with the donations, I think I did mention it earlier on in the stream, Leukodystrophy Australia do not receive any government support. They are a not-for-profit organisation, so they run solely on generous donations. So much like other charities, they need people like us doing these projects to help bring the money in, to help run the organisation, to help get the equipment, to help provide the family days and the peer support networks that are so good for the mental well-being of people that don't normally have access to that sort of care and support. So rest assured, if you are in a position to be able to help, and I know it's pretty tough out there already in the world, but if you are in a position to help, your donation will go a long way, and you guys will get to meet James through this stream. He has appeared on YouTube before. I don't think I have those videos up anymore, but you will get to see him in the simulator and have a bit of a laugh. And like I said, that's where all of our money and time is going into families like ours, children like James, and lots of older children as well. As I said before, James is, I think, one of the youngest going to the family day that's coming up. But older people still need the help as well. We've got to remember we can't get to work. We may have other family commitments that stop us getting out in the community. So there are a lot of things these donations are used for, beyond just young children. So Leukodystrophy Australia have created a big thing, and like I said, I'm excited to see once I get out to this family day, once I get out to the AGM next month as well. I'm excited to see sort of where this organisation can go and what else they do for the community as a whole. It's pretty cool to see. So Leuko, like I said, the peer support program is another big thing they do, which we at Racing for James are looking to get involved in. As a young person, balancing my work career, balancing my caring role for James and family obligations, I feel uniquely qualified without any medical experience, any counselling experience or anything like that. I feel uniquely qualified based on my learned experience to help other families or other people through this. I'm going to hit that wall pretty hard soon if I don't concentrate. So I am looking to get involved in the peer support network, because I think it's important for young people. We've all got our own stories. We've all got our own difficulties in life that we manage, and mine obviously through living with with disability as a young father and as a growing young man trying to battle a corporate career, etc. I've learned a lot of things, and I think it's something that I could bring to the table as one of the new members with Leukodystrophy Australia. I'll grow, and pretty soon I'll be one of the older guys in there as new people come in. So they'll be needing people like us to become involved and help exactly what they're doing now, spreading the word and raising awareness and advocating for younger families so they get in. They need more and more people involved in that. So if you do have a unique set of skills, or if you do have other options for getting involved in a charity that aren't necessarily financial, if you've got some extra time and you want to volunteer, or if you want to help a charity in a different way, it is often overlooked as things you can do. We've all got our sporting clubs, we've all got our hobbies that we do. Like I said, mine is sim racing, but I will be trying to get involved and do a bit more to help Leukodystrophy Australia. I was raising awareness and raising funds for Novita Children's Services in the first iteration of Racing for James through my
Let's go. Clear.
the brakes late. That was Sammy, I think we took him out before. So yeah, as through my other sporting avenues after the rally car and before this. You're all good, buddy. No need to apologise, man. It's all good fun. Thanks, Sammy. That's really nice of him. So Sammy just apologised to me there for that. There's nothing wrong with what he did there. With the only 2 cars on track, it doesn't matter. So I was saying, so through the other sporting I did, between the two, I did separate my personal story a little bit from that, because I wanted some separation from my home life, and that's where I gained a bit of an understanding for myself, spending some time away travelling for sport and just getting out there. But it did remind me of how important home is. And then as I transitioned into sim racing, I really understood that I do have this passion to help, like we are here. And my version of helping might not be a lot. It might just be 29 subscribers on YouTube watching me race at their leisure, and I'm perfectly cool with that. Like I said, I don't have any expectations. I genuinely don't. I don't have aspirations to have 10,000 followers. I don't have any of that. I just want to be true to myself and share my story. My story is not for everyone. It's absolutely not, and I'm perfectly fine with that. I'm perfectly fine with that, because if I wasn't, I wouldn't be here. And I've got nothing else to talk about for 2.5 hours a night, so may as well share my story is the way I look at it. But hopefully that's given you guys a little bit of an insight into Leukodystrophy Australia. As I've said a couple of times throughout this, and I'll repeat it again, I am new to Leukodystrophy Australia, so my interaction with them is at its infancy. James was diagnosed in February this year. We received the understanding that he has leukodystrophy. So we've only been dealing with Leukodystrophy Australia since, I believe we made contact with them in April, because I recall we went to Bathurst. We go to Bathurst 6 hour over Easter. Now that was in March this year. So it was after that, I believe, because I remember talking about having gone to Bathurst. So yeah, I believe we've been in touch with them since April this year, so it hasn't been a very long time, but they certainly have made an impression on our family, and we've got a long road ahead with the organisation and with the organisation's beneficiaries as well, the families and children and parents and carers living the same lives as we are, or very, very similar lives as we are. So we've got a lot to learn about, and I will have a chat with Earl and Tracy and see if they'd be willing to join in a live stream and have a bit of a chat. Obviously, I'll ask some questions and we'll have a bit of a discussion about what Leukodystrophy Australia means to them, and even what it's like to. So we've got a yellow flag. Even what it's like to meet a new member such as myself. I think that's the best part of doing this this live stream challenge now, is the fact that I'm doing this as a brand new member to the charity, and as a fairly new family to leukodystrophy in general. It's a very good time to do it, because you're seeing and understanding the conversations from somebody who's just discovering this. So maybe one day somebody who's interested in car racing and their child's just going through the same diagnosis as we've been through, they might stumble upon this stream and be able to answer some questions along the way about their upcoming journey, and or how they can contact and reach out to people and families, or seek advocacy if they don't have the ability to navigate this environment on their own. 12 laps of fuel left. So we are still lapping in the 25s. So I'm fairly happy that that we're going to be able to get through the 3-hour stint, as long as I can steer clear of the other cars, because I do believe it's going to be a very, very busy racetrack on the weekend. And hopefully everyone remembers that it's a ranked race instead of an unranked race. That'll be the one of the hard parts to manage, but we take the same philosophy into the vast majority of races, and that's the never give up. So if we do have a crash, we'll sit in pits, we'll wait out the repair time, and we'll get back out. What I need to work out though is if I'm going to do the Saturday one with Chris, which I think I might. It might be fun to share the stream with Chris, especially in a 3-hour race that's for a bit of fun. Maybe we'll do that. Maybe I'll share that with Chris. Maybe I'll then run the 3-hour race on Sunday solo, like I said. Following that, then I could run the Sunday afternoon. I could run all the week 13 fun races, and so do 3 hours solo and then 2 or 3 hours driving crazy combinations of cars. That might be the winning idea. Leave that one with me. Either way, whether it's that combination in that order or not, you guys will be seeing me on YouTube over the weekend. And the weekends are the times where they are going to vary. So if the weather's pretty average on Sunday where I'm living, it might be a perfect day to sit in the simulator and stream. If the weather's good, it might be an opportunity to get outside and do some gardening. My fruit trees are all blossoming pretty well. But along with the nice weather and the rain comes the weeds. So we've got to get out there and pull out some weeds, and we've got to mow the lawn and just do a bit of tidy up. So let's hope for the stream's sake that it's raining. Let's hope for the garden's sake that it's sunny. Now we saw Aaron just left, so we're not seeing very many cars in here. Like I said, I didn't expect to, because it's a fairly quiet part of the day, approaching 10 o'clock here in Australia. It's over 10 o'clock in the eastern states. I think what we'll do, I think we'll aim for the 100 laps today. So we've got 16 laps to go. We've only got 10 laps of fuel. So I think we'll do 100 laps today at this track. And that will get us to 133 laps in total. We will be doing a lot more laps of this track later in the week. I have plans, as I said, to drive the IR18 IndyCar tomorrow at Long Beach, that is a league race. It won't be quite as many laps. It'll still be a 2.5 hour stream, but the sheer amount of laps we do will be less because maybe. So we have half-hour practice, we have qualifying, we have a race, a 15-minute break, and then a race. So we might still get a few laps in, but it won't be a solid 2.5 hour drive like tonight has been. On Wednesday, we have the opportunity to either drive at Charlotte again in this car and do the exact same thing we're doing here, which it might be the right thing to do given the race is coming up on the weekend. The other option is I could drive the V8 supercar at Mount Panorama. That's where you'll probably see me crash quite a lot, because that car is pretty much impossible to drive. I'm going to go with the impossible. People do drive it and they're quite good at it, but I'm still going to call it impossible because it's the right thing to do. It's a very, very hard car to drive. But I am setting it as one of my goals to learn. I want to drive the Bathurst 1000 this year. So Bathurst is the pilgrimage we make it every Easter. It is where we go. We watch the 6-hour race, and I've been to the 1000. I used to watch the 1000 every year with my dad, playing toy cars on the rug, etc. And currently, not even currently, for the last 3 years, it'd have to be 3 years. The last 3 years, James has been right into the supercars, watching Bathurst almost every day. Almost. I don't think there's been very many days where Bathurst hasn't been on our TV, in one form or another. So I think this is the year where I'm going to drive the Bathurst 1000 in iRacing. So I've got a little bit over a month to prepare. It is on the weekend of October 5th in Australia. It's currently October 2nd, so I've got a little bit over a month to get through and be able to drive a full stint in a V8 supercar at Mount Panorama. I will be sharing that seat with Lord Volt. He too isn't the most in tune with the V8 supercar. So we're both going to learn the ropes and how to master that car and try and get through all 161 laps of Mount Panorama. I am going to live stream that as well. It won't be part of Laps for Leuko. The race itself won't be part of Laps for Leuko, but the Bathurst 1000 will be on Racing with James as a dedication to a young man who loves the mountain. And then obviously when the actual race proper is on, we'll generally fire up the big screen TV, put the barbecue on, and watch the whole 161 laps from the sofa. It's always been a pretty big weekend in my house, and something that I've not missed very many of. I've missed the odd one here and there because of other commitments and plans and things that take place, but I generally try and keep that as my one weekend, much like people do for the AFL Grand Final or whatever, Super Bowl in America. That's your thing, that's what you watch. I am losing a little bit of interest in the V8 supercars at the moment, just through that's going to be the wall that's going to kill me. Yeah, losing a little bit of interest in the V8 supercars in general. I just don't find them as exciting as they used to be, and especially since taking up iRacing or sim racing as a whole, I have developed a bit more of an interest for GT racing, the GT3 and GT4 cars, or IMSA, LMP2s and GTP cars, etc. So I've been watching a little bit of that through YouTube. But I've also been, since Shane Van Gisbergen made the pilgrimage over to America, we've been watching a bit of the NASCAR stuff as well. NASCAR is something I've dabbled in iRacing. I think I've completed 50-something races. I don't have a very good track record. It's very, very hard to drive a car around a oval. Very, very hard. but it's been a good learning experience watching Shane, because Shane Van Gisbergen driving over there, because Gizzy is James's favourite driver. He was very, very sad when he left VS Supercars and he couldn't watch him in them anymore. And James got to, in Gizzy's last season here in Australia, he got to go and touch Shane's car while it was on the grid at the Bend Motorsport Park in pole position, and that was pretty cool. He never got to meet Shane, unfortunately. He did wait outside pits, but he didn't get the opportunity to meet him, so we do hope that one day Gizzy comes back to drive in a special event, we can try and make the two worlds line up. But nonetheless, we do watch the NASCAR races on a weekend, and it's quite good. We tune into KO Sports. I'll throw the barbecue on and we'll sit outside and have a cooked breakfast and watch NASCAR. We can fast forward through the ads and things, but it's been quite a learning curve, learning a new style of racing, and I think that's really, really cool. And as I said before, it's maybe because I've lost a little bit of interest in V8 supercars that it's become more exciting, or maybe because I can drive those cars at those tracks it's become more exciting, or maybe just because it is just a new, fresh form of racing for me. But I'm quite interested in that, and it's been a good learning curve to experience what they experience and understand what they're going through when they're driving these cars for hours on end as well. So the good thing is, I think come the 3-hour race, we can do it in 2 stops quite comfortably. I will obviously work out how long a tank of fuel actually lasts. And then what I might end up doing is I might develop a fuel strategy where I'd start with less fuel in the car. And
You have about 5 laps of fuel left.
I do, Jeff, thank you. And then I'll need to top up for 6 laps of fuel to get to the 100. So I will work that out. Like I said, if I can figure out a fuel strategy, because I know I have to stop twice, rather than filling up with a full tank and then just running the last laps, I might start with less fuel, which means I start with a lighter car, still have to stop twice anyway. We'll work it out. I'm not a fuel strategist. I remember my first endurance race, I did tell my teammate to keep driving. He had 1 more lap left, but it was 1 litre instead of 1 lap, so we ran out of fuel. Luckily, we had a lap spare on the car behind us, so even though we didn't get to finish that lap, we didn't lose a position, because we were a lap up on that car, so they couldn't unlap themselves on us. It was just I think we'll call that a happy accident. But at Missed Apex Racing League, it is a bit of a running joke now. Whenever I comment on fuel and fuel strategies, they get a bit of a giggle out of it. So, rightly so. It was pretty funny. And I deserve the banter directed at me for that. I'd do the same to me. If anyone is watching and wants to get involved in league racing, like I spoke about yesterday, Missed Apex Racing League, we are always, I think the term they call it, or the cool kids call it these days, is recruiting. We are recruiting drivers at all times of the year. The races we're driving, the cars we're driving, the IR18 IndyCar and the Radical SR8. The Radical SR8 is free content. You get that with your iRacing subscription, and it is a hell of a car to drive. So much fun. You guys on the stream will see that on Thursday night. So it's currently Monday night, so in a couple of days time you'll see the Radical SR8. What track are we racing that from? I think we're racing it from Circuit of the Americas. Round 1 was last Thursday at Monza, and it was so much fun. So much fun. The racing was clean. The field did get spread out a bit more than we'd predicted it would. We thought because of the long straights at Monza that the pack would stick together a bit more, but they did get a bit split. But there were packs of cars throughout the track, which was quite cool. And the battles, I've actually got, I think I deleted it. I think I've got one of the videos saved, which I plan to post on YouTube as a standalone video. So that'll be interesting to get that up and have a look at how that race unfolded. But those radicals, they're great. And the good thing is, like I said, it is free content. So if you do get into iRacing and you want to have fun, you can do it for a fairly small fee. But inevitably, like any hobby, you are unfortunately going to spend money and buy more content. And it's not the cheapest hobby, but no hobbies are cheap these days with the general cost of living pressures post COVID around the world. So I'm aiming to do 8 more laps. I want to get to that 100 lap mark. I'm getting a little bit of a sore shoulder. I've got to focus on my posture a little bit more. But I think 100 laps is enough for me today. I think we'll fall just short of the 2.5 hours of driving, I believe. I'm trying to check my phone. No, we'll fall just on the 2.5 hours of driving. Because the stream will run just longer than 2.5 hours, and we did start a few minutes late. But I think it's important I get to that 100. We need to get to the 100. We've got 8 laps to go, a minute and a half a lap. We'll be fine. It's 12 minutes of driving. 12 minutes. We'll stop now though, with 2 laps to go, and we'll top up a little bit of fuel. We don't need a full tank. We only need enough to get. Don't want to get a black flag for speeding in pits. So if I switch the fuel here, which is this one, I don't know if you can see my mouse, but it says estimated laps. So we have done 93 laps now, I think it is. So we'll go until there's 93. So we'll go until there's 9 estimated laps on there, and then we'll just head out of the pits. So if I turn down to begin fueling. 7, 8. We'll put 10. We'll put 12 laps in, just so there's a bit of weight in the car. So I can turn the fuel off. We'll wait for tyres to go in. We'll have a fresh set of tyres to go out there as well, and finish these last 7 laps. It has been a long afternoon and stint. It's been a long day. I had an early morning today to go to the office. Spent the day in meetings in the city, which is good. I quite enjoy doing that. Then I had my parents over. So yesterday in Australia was Father's Day. I spent the day streaming on YouTube and then spent the afternoon with the kids. But I also knew that I was seeing Dad today, so we saved that for our Father's Day dinner. And then I jumped straight in the simulator. So it's been a day. But this is exactly how I envisaged this month to go. I wanted to make sure I could squeeze it in around my life commitments and make sure that I dedicated the time that I wanted to dedicate to doing this. It is going to be on weekends, for example. There will be times where I'd like to go out or do things, but I will dedicate to streaming. Because again, it's about putting the hours in, and I've spoken with my wife and both kids. They know what we're doing here. They know the commitment I'm making to putting hours into this stream. And as I said, even if it's only 2 people watching, even if only 1 person tunes in, I'm still going to be doing this for the reasons I talked about not 20 minutes ago. It's something that I want to do for myself. I want to get through the struggles and the long hours and the difficulties of we messed that up royally, didn't we? Trying not to reverse into a wall. Knock my rear spoiler off. I should have turned traction control off and clutch kicked that around. That's what I should have done. Rookie error. You can tell I've done 94 laps. What I should have done there is actually turn the traction. Oh, don't do it again. I've got hot tyres. That's embarrassing. I made it through. I did spin last time I came out of the pits, let's be honest. So I can't believe I did that twice. I can't believe I did that twice. That's just fatigue creeping in again. I've lost track of what I was saying now. Yes, I don't recall what I was saying. We do have another GT4 on track with us though, so lucky we got ourselves cleared and out of the way before he got to us. And we've got a GT3 as well. So a couple of guys joined. I think there's about half an hour left on the server that I set up. I did set it up for 3 hours in iRacing, so these guys can get in and do about a half hour stint. I said, oh, we'll be only doing 6 more laps. My Ted joined as well, so we've got a couple of cars here now. That's pretty cool. I will only be doing 6 more laps because my body, like I said, shoulders getting a little bit sore as well as my lower back. And I've got 2.5 hours to do tomorrow night and every night for the rest of this week. I think my physio will love me when I get there on Wednesday. And he asks, what have you been doing? And I'll say I've been sitting in my simulator for hours on end. But as long as I do my stretches during the day and look after myself, it's not going to be too much of an issue. So basically what I have to practice coming up to the 3 hour on the weekend is getting out of the pits without spinning it after a pit stop. So if any of you are looking to hang around and watch me do the 3 hour race on Saturday, every time I pit, just make sure you say to me, Travie, easy on the throttle, Travie, don't do it, don't spin. Or, on the flip side, you could just ignore that and just let me spin and then have a bit of a laugh and potentially crash into other cars. And it might make better content than you reminded me not to spin. So, the choice is yours. The fate of me and my racing ability is in your hands on Saturday night. So it might also be the responsibility of you guys for Chris's race as well, because if you decide not to remind me and I'm paired up with Chris, then we're going to affect Chris's race as well. But either way, Chris won't mind either. Ultimately, neither of us will mind. It'll just be funny whichever way it plays out. So it's a win-win-win. You guys win, I win. Or actually, not everyone wins, because the person that crashes into us will probably be pretty sad. But they'll get over it. The good thing about triple screens on a track like this is seeing the cars go around the other parts of the track in your peripheral vision. You can see the mistakes creeping in now, can't you? I've lost a lot of focus now. And I've got new tyres and not heavy fuel as well. We were talking earlier on the episode about how the fuel burns off and the tyres burn off at the same rate, and it's all respective. We obviously don't have a lot of weight in the car with fuel at the moment.
You've got a slow car on the right.
So we don't have a lot of weight in the car at the moment, which means that there's less gravity and downforce working on the fresh, slick tyres. Obviously, a lighter car, less grip.
Just at the fastest lap, 24.305.
We just had our fastest lap beaten for the first time tonight as well.
Go left.
Just had our fastest lap beaten, so by half a second. It'd be interesting to see what and I'm not sure of that name. It'd be interesting to see what he's driving though. I'm assuming it's going to be a Mercedes or a BMW. That is the car of the season. And moving into week 13 and the first week of next season, I'm going to bet my bottom dollar the new BMW is going to be very, 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 very well represented in the GT4 field. Very well. I believe it will be. So we will we'll see in just over it'll be tomorrow, so Wednesday our time. So we'll see in just over a day's time how that plays out. But I believe it will be the favourite car, as iRacing tend to have the new cars as pretty.
Car 228, just at the fastest lap, 24.115.
It's gone faster again. I mean, bearing in mind I've done 100 laps and I haven't set my fastest lap for well, since the other guys were here from Marl. Well over an hour ago now, so maybe I should try and see if we can beat it on lap 100. We are driving the stock endurance tune though as well, so now I'm pretty much looking for excuses. I will be on lap 99 after this one. Do an in-lap as well because you have to drive into the pits. You can't just park your car on the racetrack, otherwise the pit crew have to go and get it. So we'll do an in-lap as well. So it'll be 101 laps by the time we park in our pit bay at the end of this. They will all be updated on the tally on the left-hand side of your screen, ready for the next episode. The next episode, like I said, will be in an IndyCar, so something with a bit of downforce, something with a bit more difficulty in driving. I'm not great at open wheelers. So that lap was a 9 as well. A 9.9. So we are going to push this lap and see if we can. That tyre spin is not going to help us. See if we can beat our. Previous best. I don't think we will. Not feeling like this is going to be a faster lap. What I did just turn on the screen, you probably would have seen me, I switched over and turned the force feedback down a little bit. It's that's what's been hurting my shoulder, is as we're coming around these corners, the jolt pushing my arms down. I thought it was about right, but I've really noticed it in these last couple of laps. Because I can see that I'm approaching the finish line as well. I've got 1 and a bit laps to go. Across the finish line. Do you think this will be my fastest lap? I hope so. It's not going to be faster than the guy who's set the fastest lap. Not now, it's not either.
You've got about 5 laps.
Oh, it was a 5.7, so no. But that concludes our 100. It's going to be.
Clear.
Oh, he's in the pit lane. Where is he?
Left side.
There he is.
Clear.
It was a BMW. Told you it would be. It was a BMW. So he's 6/10 faster. So he did a 48.1. So if I can be 7/10 off the fastest cars on Saturday night, I'm going to be pretty happy, especially with how I drove tonight. Except for the spins. But when I'm driving against other cars, I'll have those spins too. I was going to try and say that I won't, but when I'm driving against other cars, you are concentrating a lot more. But obviously with concentration comes fatigue also. So, well, I do again want to thank everyone who's tuned in, and anyone who might tune in the future and wants to sit down and watch the succession of Racing with James and the Laps of Leuko project. Please remember, like I said, this is for Leukodystrophy Australia, and if you are in a position to spare a few dollars and make a donation, the link is in the description below. leuko.org.au/support us /donate. Like I said, that every dollar you do donate, if you can do so, goes towards helping children and families living with leukodystrophy. We will have a chat in some future episodes about what leukodystrophy is as time goes by. But thanks very much, everyone. Thanks very much, everyone, for all your help and support. And so we'll be here every day on YouTube. I am going to sign that off there. And we'll see you at 6:30 Australian Central Standard Time tomorrow for another 2.5 hours of Laps for Leuko. Thanks very much, guys. Take care.